Hello and welcome to the Low Code Podcast. I'm Faraz Khan from iTrack, and we are the global specialists in OutSystems recruitment. With this podcast, our aim is to increase awareness and appreciation of OutSystems and its impact and benefits to the market, and our early adoption is giving competitive edge to businesses worldwide. During our podcast, myself and my colleague Sushil Chauhan will be speaking to IT leaders and OutSystems MVPs on how OutSystems has transformed their businesses and careers. We also hope that by speaking to MVPs on their career journeys, we can inspire developers from all over the world to learn from others who have already been on the path. So let's go. Hello, welcome to our latest episode of the Low Code Podcast. And today I have with me Helder Santos, who's the Director of Digital and IT at CMS Legal Services. Hi Helder, how are you?
Hi, all good.
You're in Germany at the moment, are you?
Yes, based in Frankfurt. Currently, it's quite grey, but not yet snowing. Not yet.
Lucky. Well, it's not too bad here in the UK either. So, but I think it's going to be getting colder. So, thank you for coming on to our podcast. Maybe we can start off just by saying a little bit about yourself and how you got involved with CMS Legal, and then maybe we can talk a little bit about CMS Legal as well.
Sure. As you said, I'm currently Director of Digital and Information Technology. I had in the past I had several roles inside the organization. I moved to Frankfurt, Germany, 6 years ago to take a IT manager position, and 6 years later, I'm leading the department where basically I keep a focus on the globalization of our business or organization, trying to combine a portfolio of services, of products, where mainly we focus on the innovation that we can deliver, especially in areas like security, cloud, infrastructure, software as a service, platforms as a service.
Right.
It's a bit connected with the structure of the organization.
Okay.
Before that, I was in Portugal, 12 years, starting as a help desk agent and leading the CMS Portuguese firm,
Right.
and until I get there also as a director, but as a national director. And after that, I moved to Germany.
Okay. So obviously you've got good knowledge of the organization. You spent a lot of time there. From my understanding, CMS Legal Services is a pretty big organization. It's complex and with many different bits in different countries and quite a lot of people. So do you want to just quickly summarize?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. CMS is a top 10 global law firm. We are, I think I will not fail the numbers. My marketing team will kill me. But I think right now is 70 cities, 43 countries, almost 9,000 people inside the organization. It's quite complex because on an organization of this dimension, there are always challenges. The organization is also quite independent in their own countries or own jurisdictions, like we say in the legal market. That brings us some complexity. What I do in CMS Legal, that is the organization where I am, is we are what we can call a center, let's call it a center of excellence, where we coordinate and we deliver global products, trying to also pick up opportunities in things like procurement, IT services. That in my area, of course, we also do lots of business development, marketing, branding, all that kind of things. But is on the IT area, we have a role of coordination and global initiatives, mainly this.
Right. Okay. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, from what I know of the organization, it's kind of grown through an amalgamation of lots of different companies or organizations around the globe. So because of that, they've got widely diverse IT systems and structures and processes and things like that, which brings me on to the next thing of,
your challenge of sort of trying to bring some of that together, and how do you bring digital transformation into an organization this diverse and this big, and how do you do it? So what was your kind of thought process along that line? How did that start? And I know you
as
got
you
low code and OutSystems involved, but how did that
yeah
whole thing start?
as you can imagine, with just a mix of IT landscape, you can guess we have a bit of everything everywhere: big systems, legacy systems, state-of-the-art systems, manual processes,
Yeah,
automated process, RPA, whatever you
it's
think.
IT director's worst nightmare, isn't it?
It's a yeah, it's a bit, because the business don't understand this is and it's our goal to make it the smoothest possible for the business.
Yeah,
um, it's quite complex, especially because the organization in the last years is having a very rapid growth in numbers, in income. In 3 years ago, we had the biggest merger in law firms in the UK.
right.
Was the biggest one. We incorporate operations or member firms in Africa, Latin
Wow.
America.
Yeah,
It's quite tricky. What we try to do, and what we do in the center, I'm always referring to the center because it's how my organization is seen, is we try to bring solutions that enable to fill these gaps.
yeah,
And you refer low code. Low code give us the ability to integrate some legacy systems, integrate some state-of-the-art systems, and trying to bring them all together at the same level. We cannot force, we cannot impose that a member firm needs to use that technology or that other technology, especially because we don't work on their critical systems. But
mm,
what we need is we need to deliver a consistency and one brand and one service.
yeah,
And that is where low code, and in this specific case, because we use OutSystems, is helping us, because allow us to, in a very fast way,
mm,
and that I think is the also part of the low code value, tackle some of these challenges. Is
yeah,
okay, we need to build something, how we connect, how we make this happen,
yeah,
and we don't have time to do it. And hand coding, as we know, it's quite challenging sometimes.
yeah. So I suppose a lot of the challenge, as you've said, is not directly related to the critical systems of the business, but more kind of the look and feel and the
Yeah,
presentation of one brand to the globe, and also, I suppose, how people communicate internally and how a customer sees the organization externally, no matter sort of where they are. Some level of consistency is, I suppose,
yeah.
what you was that. That was that a good summary of what you think
Yeah,
was.
yes, I can. One of our member firms is using OutSystems in critical applications
Mm-hmm.
to support their ERP and their own internal processes.
Right.
But it's a different installation. I have some legacy
Yeah.
and on that, and I helped at the time. But currently, our focus from my team is build applications that promote collaboration and promote also
Mm.
client access, mobile apps, marketing apps, knowledge apps,
Mm.
or how we like to say digital products that we can deliver.
Yeah.
That is where we are currently.
And what were the kind of key big milestones in that process, and the things that you think really made a difference?
Well, we had some tough challenges, especially because some like some people are saying that data is the new oil,
Mm.
but it's only the new oil if it's organized. And we still have lots of challenges in organizing data.
Right.
And when I'm saying data, is things like even lawyers' profile, locations, knowledge, and out and what we do with OutSystems and where it's really helping us is to build what we call a data hub platform, where in the moment that we clarify our data sources, that we have all the connectors in place, and we are very close to that, then it's much easier, faster, and cheaper to build on top of that. If, let's say, if our marketing team wants to build a small marketing application, and if we have the data ready, we can deliver. If one of our practice and sector groups wants to build some specific client application, we can build it. That is where we are heading, and that is what we can connect to the buzz term that is digital transformation journey.
Right.
There are several levels of digital transformation. In our cases, is a bit organizing our own home and delivering from there.
Okay. And how is the sort of low code solution? You might want to, this goes a bit more into what is low code. How would that approach kind of be more efficient and faster, or whatever it is, than traditional methods?
Well, in my experience, and also in our case, is low code can be used in a different business scenarios, let's call it like that, from critical systems to marketing systems to anything, and that help us to create some engagement because people start to see things a bit faster. On the technical way, for my team, it's quite easy to extend core systems without saying to the business, you need to change everything because we need to do this. That is where low code help us. On the other end is the speed. It's quite easy to implement the change. It's quite easy to show to the stakeholders that their request, it will not take months to deliver. Maybe it's just a couple of hours or weeks, depending on the complexity. And that is something that we cannot achieve so easily with different other frameworks or other ways of developing. This is what is helping us. Other advantage that we realize and is we only need to develop one time. If it's mobile or desktop, we save time on that. When people say, I want to have this, and sometimes they say, I want to have an app, but in the end they only want to have a survey on the website.
Right.
And even for that, it's easy to us to show them, look, this is an app, this is what you want, really what you want, and it helps us to try and show, and sometimes even fail is part of the process.
Yeah. And do you think the reaction of sort of people that were involved in the change, do you think they were surprised in terms of how quickly and successfully things were being done? And then they say, oh, you can do this really fast. Now I want this, or now I want this. Or I know there's kind of more requests as things are being achieved. So.
Yeah, but backlog is always a challenge when people start to realize that we can deliver. Inside the organization, there are several levels. There are people that really support and understand how it works, and there are others that are still a bit reserved and still think that traditional ways are working. After some projects, right now I can say that our organization is starting to see the benefit. It's a bit complex to show the return of investment when we see the marketing materials from local suppliers, OutSystems even, that 300% of return of investment and so on. For us, it's quite difficult to show that because we don't mainly are marketing applications, but people are starting to understand, okay, this idea that I have, it will not take 3 years to fly. It will take maybe 3 months to fly, and that it's something that people are starting to see. Even today, I was doing a demo and to an external organization, and that external organization was asking how you do this, how you do that, and we say, look, we are able to do this because we are using a local development platform. It doesn't mean that you cannot achieve another way, but
Yeah.
for us it's a bit easier, and much more structure. And then
Mm.
we have quick wins like the security that the platform gives to us, that is
Yeah.
very important in our business area. Also the UI, because it's much easier to incorporate our designers and use, for example, the OutSystem style lifestyles. It's much easier to incorporate and to bring people, because
Yeah.
the lawyer sees the benefit because they have a mobile application. The designer sees the benefit because what he or she created is correct up to the pixel, and then the IT teams also start to understand. Okay, I didn't need to change a legacy system. I just
Mm.
need to build a API or whatever
Yeah.
connector, and that really helps us.
Yeah. So there's some level of surprise, I suppose, in terms of the internal reaction. What about customer on the customer side? How's that been in terms of the new things that have become available and the way the customer interacts with the business?
Yeah, we from products that we built in low code, we launched one some weeks ago, and it's the first one because also it's changes a bit the business model from previous ones, and we are receiving quite good feedback. People are clients are interested, including
Mm.
moving that product to their inside organization. Despite this just a marketing knowledge product, the clients are interested to expand the usage in their own organization. It's quite interesting what we are receiving from feedback from the clients.
Yeah.
A bit more on the content because it's what they really want, but now
Right.
we are entering in areas where the client is asking, can you brand this? Can you incorporate this in my own portfolio?
Yeah.
And we are trying to understand if with the use of low code, we'll be able to, in a much easier way, to answer to the client needs.
And is there more demand now for kind of to be able to interact in lots of different ways? In other words, the multi-experience
Yeah.
side of things, and I know OutSystems is definitely kind of a big leader on that side of things. So, how's that changed in terms of how different ways that the client can
Yeah,
interact?
it's not only the client; it's also internal. People, it doesn't matter if we are using an iPad, an iPhone, a Microsoft Surface, or a TV. They want to have it on the screen, and they are unhappy when doesn't adapt, when they rotate the screen doesn't work, or the picture doesn't adapt, and they will spend
Right.
2 seconds there until they close the website or the application. And that brings us some challenges, because even when we say, okay, we will develop for the Apple Store, for the Android Store, but not for desktop, and they say, this is stupid, you cannot do that because I want to be on my Surface, I don't care.
Yeah.
And with the experience of with this pandemic, people just want things to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
In the other day, I was, it's not related to this, but one member of our top management was quite happy to say, oh, I was in my computer and then I needed to move. And when I pick up the iPhone, the application asked me, do you want to transfer this call from your computer to your phone? And he said, this is perfect. But he
Yeah.
doesn't care how was built, how was it.
No.
And it's the same thing. They want to move, they want to use the device they want,
Yeah.
and that is more comfortable for them. And that brings the multi experience to the top priority.
Yeah. A clear case of the customer is always right, and we need
Yeah.
to give them what they want instead of saying computer can say no.
Yeah,
Computer
yeah,
says
it's
no. Yeah.
and in our industry, it's and I think also in others, the grass of the neighbor is always greener. That means if they see someone,
Yeah.
oh, they build this, they have this, they don't care if they spend millions or took years. They want to have similar and saying, if the competition is doing, we also can do it even better. And it's where we need to focus.
Yeah. Right. And so it looks like, so is the whole, did you say you're almost complete now with everything, and or you're kind of coming towards the end of that process?
We are now ending what we call the data architecture. We are going to that, almost ending that area, and now we are playing around, or we will start to play around with integrations from our products, or the ones that we develop inside the low code, with other platforms like Microsoft Teams, so on. So we will move to that area. Right now, let's say the data architecture is in a good shape. Some of the digital products that were requested to build, they are built and they are on the stores. But we have again a backlog that we need to clear, and more than developing is understanding how we will do it, and if it makes sense to build it, because things that we have in our backlog maybe are requests from months ago, years ago, that we never managed to do it, and now we need to realize, to understand if they are possible to do, and if they are even make sense.
And you mentioned earlier as well the whole situation in terms of the pandemic, how that's changed, what people want to do and how people want to interact. And I suppose some of it's been forced, I suppose. And the people that I've been talking to, over the course of these podcasts, most of them have been saying that the pandemic is accelerating change. Do you agree with that?
Yes, yes. In our case, in our organization, since years, some of our major firms already prepare for that. Much before the pandemics, our people were already doing home office, remote work, picking up their laptop and moving inside the building. In the case was inside the building without, and they were quite mobile already. And that means that our organization was quite prepared after the pandemic. Of course, we had some challenges, but when I speak with other people, I don't even see that we had a fifth of the challenge of other organizations. But that was because the organization took a path some years ago, say, we need to be mobile, we need to be easy. If someone is sitting in, let's say, in the London office, and it's traveling and enters in the Kiev office, the network needs to be the same. He needs to continue to work in the same way. In that way, we were quite comfortable. But yes, we have some challenges, especially because nowadays we don't manage 70 offices. We manage almost 9,000 offices. Everyone is working from home. We need to ensure that it's working, and that puts lots of pressure in our service desk teams, but also on the delivery.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Actually, I never thought of it like that before, going from 70 to 9,000 offices, which is what it is actually, isn't it? So with lots of organizations now. So, and so in terms of looking to the future and, the big challenges that are coming up ahead, and how low code can help with solving some of those problems, what do you see ahead?
Well, in the legal industry, they are starting to appear some players in the area of low code and no code, especially for automation, RPA, lots of contract review, all that area. We have some in place. That means the no code, low code area will continue to grow. All the reports from Gartner, Forrester, they are saying that it will continue to grow. We know that other players like Microsoft Power Apps and so on are starting to enter much stronger nowadays than in the past in these areas.
Right.
The future for low code will be there in our organization also. We just need to understand where we want really to use low code, because as you know, 2 years ago, I think OutSystems, other platforms said citizen development,
Yeah.
basically that you can build, and controlling a bit the shadow IT that happens nowadays.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
something that we are looking, because people say this is my way of working. In the end, it's everyone's way of working, but they think, oh, this is my workflow. You cannot replicate this. You cannot do that. This is very specific for this area. And we are looking into that, how low code could help us to fill that gap, and saying,
Yeah.
okay, it's so specific, then you can build it, but we control and we ensure that is compliant. Is
Yeah.
an area that we are looking. Internally, we are also doing some reviews about our strategies, and we are considering bringing low code to help us on that review. It's not yet defined, but we are looking at that, essentially because we have the platform, we are knowledgeable about the platform, we know the power of platforms like OutSystems. We just need to understand how we will get the return of investment, and
Yeah.
how, if it's really need to use a low code to challenge the business request or the business challenge. I
Yeah.
believe yes, but sometimes we can even figure it out that low code is not the solution for that specific problem.
Sure. And do you think a lawyer can ever be replaced by artificial intelligence? Is what we're all hoping.
Yeah, since years, and if you Google a bit, since years there are lots of people entering in that area, lots of vendors doing this. There are almost contest saying, oh, a computer review all these contracts and compare in 6 seconds, while the
Exactly.
lawyer took 6 days with a team of 10. And I think it will never replace.
Yeah.
I think we are getting in a moment that lawyers are understanding that technology is there to help them.
Mm.
Technology will never replace their knowledge and their common sense,
Yeah.
because sometimes it's common sense.
Yeah. It's a
And
judgment. I suppose the
ex-
judgment parts of things can't be replaced
exactly,
with it.
exactly. And the vendors are trying to understand that not everything is AI, because AI, it's a bit of everything is AI nowadays,
Yeah.
especially in our area. It's you want to have a chatbot in your teams, it's AI. Do you want
Yeah.
to automate a contract? It's AI. Do you want to
Yeah.
do a search in your document management system? It's AI. And I think vendors are starting to understand that not everything is AI,
No.
and lawyers, and I think also the pandemic helped on that, but also younger generations of lawyers that are growing inside the organizations are seeing this is not a replacement. This is a joint effort from technology to people.
Right. Yeah. I think I agree with you. And there are lots of areas where things can be speeded up, I suppose. But at the end of the day, a human being is still required somewhere
Yeah,
to make the
yeah,
final judgment and decision and to
yeah. And the
put it all
and the
together.
legal
So
area is a very traditional area. While in the UK it's quite advanced, and in the United States. But if I look at other areas, let's say South Europe, where I'm coming from, um, South America, even a bit in other regions, it's still a very traditional market. It's a very closed market.
yeah.
It's almost a tradition to be a lawyer in some of these countries. I'm lawyer because my father was lawyer, my grandfather was lawyer, and that is okay. It's not, but it's still difficult to do the balance between markets that are very advanced with others that are still working in a different way, but to achieve the same result.
It's interesting. Great. Okay. Well, this has been really interesting, actually, talking about the challenges that you've faced and how you've overcome them. And it would be good to see how that all works out, actually, just maybe this time, middle of 2021, when the landscape looks a lot different. In terms of where everybody is and what everybody's doing. I mean, I've got a feeling things are going to be accelerating quite fast in terms of activity after next summer. So we get to catch up again then.
Yeah, exactly. I think things will move, and if something that we learned in 2020 is predictions don't count anymore. Everything can change.
True, you never know what's around the corner.
Exactly. All predictions that we try to do in the end of 19, I doubt that people still keep them 1 year later, because everything changed, and of course we can think that 2021 will be in one way, but we never know, and this pandemic proves us that.
I agree. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure having you on, and I think it would be great if we'll definitely catch up again in 6 months' time and then see where we've got to then.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the latest episode of the Low Code Podcast, hosted by iTrack, Global OutSystems Recruitment Specialist. Be sure to subscribe, and see you next time.